Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Today we are taking a look at NECA's Ultimate Invisible Man. To me, all the Universal monsters are going to be must-haves. This movie is mind-blowing. It just is. If you haven't seen it, if you've thought, well, this isn't a monster, this isn't a vampire or whatever, you got to see it. It's one of the best. And so we've got kind of the most recognizable version. They could do other versions of the character from the movie. But this packaging, the way that NECA has gone about designing the packaging for these Universal Monsters and for the TMNT Universal Monsters crossovers, it's just some of the classiest stuff out there right now. I absolutely love the way they're using the classic graphics. You can see the gloss that's on the actual movie title and then the character up here. It's gorgeous. When you walk into Target, no matter how many times you've seen these Universal Monsters figures, it's still like, oh, that looks cool. Oh, wait, I've got that at home. But it's one of those things that every time you see it, it's kind of exciting all over again. On the back, you've got different images of the figure, and they've really gotten to the point of, I don't know, they just put a lot into their packaging, and it's very impressive. And I love the way that they've laid out the back here with all the accessories and different looks and everything. Bottom of the box, of course, you've got the credits for the people who put this work of art together. And then you've got the window panel that reveals the figure. Of course, you see over here, and then another figure shot. But the figure itself is, invisible. That's the point. Ho, 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 ho. That's my little joke. Okay, so this is the actual unboxing. I have not yet opened the figure, so let's go ahead and get to it. Just had to film things a little out of order because sometimes I want to be a funny guy. Or at least what I think is funny. So let's get old Claude out of here and see what's going on. So we've got a great little backdrop going on in there with a bunch of lab stuff. Looks awesome. I always say, oh, I'd like to have some of these things. And then NECA starts putting out their, the sarcophagus set, the Frankenstein set, with all the accessories and the extras and whatever. And I don't get them because as much as I'd love to have them, well, I just don't have room on the shelf. What am I going to do? Put all that stuff in the drawer? I don't do toy photography. So, I don't know. It's just not, it's not stuff that I need to get into. But I love that NECA is releasing those sets, and I completely support them doing it. Like, I would never say, oh, I'd rather, invest into, what is that? Oh, that's his nose. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm not going to say anything crazy like, oh, I'd rather, put that money towards making other figures. Whatever. They make enough figures. Oh, okay. So he comes with, that must have slid out of the bag somehow. Or maybe, no, it was in there. It's just on display. But there are extra noses included. They're kind of taking a page from Mezco's book and knowing that these are little tiny, easily lost accessories, throwing some extras in. I think that's fantastic. Good job, NECA. All right. Not good job with these darn plastic things. Don't like them. Although at least they do seem to be a little stretchier than they were when they first started getting used. Because before they'd just be so darn tight you couldn't stretch them out, and there we go. You couldn't. It was very difficult to snip them like that. Now they at least do have some elasticity and they stretch out a little bit. So the Invisible Man, not necessarily one of my favorites, because I like, I am more of a monster guy than a psychological terror guy. And I think the Invisible Man, as much as he is one of the great characters, just not as exciting as a vampire or a sea creature or lake monster or werewolf or whatever. So I was just never as drawn to him. But I do think Invisible Man is one of the better Universal Monsters movies. One of the best, to tell the truth. But the character, I've never been particularly drawn to, like owning figures of, because at the end of the day, it's a guy in a suit. It's a very unique, immediately recognizable guy in a suit, but you know, that's what we got. So NECA has really gotten good at guy in suit figures. You can see the profile looks really nice. It's shape-wise, profile, as I said, wise, it looks as good as one of Sideshow's old figures with barely any articulation. But then you get into the figure, and you have these great... the shoulders maybe don't go. But here's the thing. He's wearing a suit coat, so that's really as far as his shoulders are going to go anyway. You've got more than 90 degrees at the elbows. And as you're posing him, nothing gets misaligned or ruins the profile of the figure. The hip joints are kind of what we've become used to here. We've got the ball socket with the pivot or swivel or whatever at the top there. So you've got, typically got to loosen it up a little bit, but you've got a little bit of swivel up here that replaces an unsightly thigh swivel, and then kind of a full hinged hip. The knees, you've got the rotation, the single joint. As I've said many times, I do not need everything to be double jointed. These characters are not all Spider-Man. And then the elbow has the same movement with the swivel at the top and then the hinge. So for a guy in a suit who is dismayed with his current physical state, he's great. They've done a very nice job. I wonder if he could sit. Not quite, and that's that crotch piece there that NECA uses. That's people refer to as the diaper, which is not inappropriate or completely wrong. But he's not going to be doing any sitting, but that's okay because I don't plan on having the Invisible Man sit. So figure-wise, he is great, and the question, of course, is, well, this one is in color. Some people prefer the black and white versions of the figures, which I don't think they've shown a black and white Invisible Man yet, but I know several of the others have gotten them. So really, NECA is left. I don't know. I'm sure they've got, set pictures or whatever maybe to use as resources for what colors these things were. But you do kind of have to be satisfied with how NECA interprets the colors if you buy the color figure. So far, they've been on point with everything. So anyway, there we go. Invisible Man figure looks fantastic, but where he really becomes something notable is in his accessories. So we've got his Book O Science with just sort of scribbles in it. I think that might be up, but it looks great. It's a little bit of a softer plastic. And it is permanently open, but that's because it's meant to sit on the lab table or whatever. I can't decide which way I think that looks right. But there you go. Looks good. He's got alternate gloved hands with his, I guess, outside gloves. Tons of detail, tons of texture. I mean, this is what... If you've seen NECA products, you know what to expect. It's all kinds of sculpted textures, great paint washes, just top-notch stuff. And then you've got alternate inside glove with the lab gloves on, posed for interacting with the various accessories. They all look fantastic. I mean, look at that. They look like, well, not only do they look like latex gloves, but they look like super old school, like 1920s or 30s latex gloves. Like they have an aged, old look to them. Not like they're actually old, but just they're from a different era. Fascinating. Just look at the sculpting on these. If I can get my own giant hand out of the shot. Just incredible stuff. You know, even if you're not into monster toys or whatever NECA is doing, which there's got to be something NECA does that you enjoy, you have to appreciate the artistry of their products. All right, let's see how easy it is to swap some of these hands out. Always be careful when doing a swap with any line. Actually, let's put the gloved hand on him, or the outdoor glove on him. Curious to see how well that goes into place. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. So with all of those hands, we also have some alternate portraits, but in this instance, these portraits are really kind of sources of horror. It is a hollow... Oh, very interesting, though, that it's not soft. So it's hollow inside. As you can see, the light kind of going through the mouth there. Oh, it's fascinating. And then you've got one that's a little further unwrapped with the nose. He kind of looks like he's from Canada. Oh, I'm invisible! Oh, no! What am I gonna do? Sorry. All right. And so that, I don't know how easy, sometimes the NECA heads are easier to get off than others, but they've been doing really well lately. They've been putting kind of nice big pegs in there, making it a little easier to deal with. Oh, this one might be tough because it's going to be difficult to push down because of that. It might be a matter of sort of getting your finger in there. Okay, I think that's got it. But then getting it out of there, I'd be very, very careful with this one. I'd be concerned about this piece just shearing off if you put too much pressure on it. So be careful with that one. And then this one with just the completely hollow, that is just creepy. Very like scarecrow looking. All right, and then we have got his wig, just kind of like sitting on the counter style. Looks great. You can see all the sculpt, all the paint. Another fantastic piece. His goggles that match up with this portrait have the same shine on the lenses, are softer plastic. Even from the look at the back, how they're even like built like goggles. It's fantastic. And then that little nose. That includes a total of 4 of those little noses. So in case you lose your nose, NECA has got you covered. And then finally, a little solution with a stirring rod. And a nice translucent glass container. And that's it. Kind of a simple figure, but very, very well done. a must for your Universal Monsters collection. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about needless things. And there's a way back. There must be a way back, you fool.
Smash that like button if you like needless things.